Hello, I'm Debbie Powell with the City of Saginaw Public Information Office, and with me today is Nick Munoz, our cemetery supervisor. And we're going to talk a little bit today about our City of Saginaw cemeteries. Nick, can you tell me a little bit about your position and the staffing in the cemeteries department for the City of Saginaw?
Yes, I'm a working foreman for the City of Saginaw Cemeteries Division, and under me there's 3 other full-time people. There's 2 guys on the grounds here with me and our secretary at the office. We supplement the rest of our help with temporary staffing agencies, and we also use personnel from the TRICAP program.
And what were your staffing levels in the past? You were telling me that it's been decreased over the years with budget cuts.
Yes, we used to have at one point in time up to like 9 full-time positions here, and we were just making it then. Now the duties and everything that goes on here at our cemeteries has not decreased, but our staffing levels have.
So that's why you need to supplement with the TRICAP workers and the seasonal workers.
That is correct, yes. But even then, it's not the same as having somebody who has been here year in and year out, that knows the layout of the land, the things that need to be done.
Now, Nick, can you tell us, there's 3 cemeteries, right?
That's correct. We have Forest Lawn, which is our largest cemetery. And then the second to the largest is Oakwood, which is on the corner of Gratiot and Midland Road. And the smallest of the 3 is Brady Hill Cemetery.
And are there available burial sites at the City of Saginaw cemeteries?
Yes, there is. At Forest Lawn, we still have a lot of area for burials, and Oakwood Cemetery also.
Can you tell me, how does one go about making funeral arrangements or pre-planning? What would they do?
They would either call our office, and our secretary could walk them through the different options that they have, or a lot of people feel more comfortable going directly to a funeral home, and they could take care of everything at that point in time.
And who should they call?
Our office number is area code 989-759-1656.
Or you can call our call center, and that's 989-399-1311. You have mentioned to me that you have had somewhere in the neighborhood of 430 to 460 burials every year. So that would mean that you are having multiple burials on some days, and probably sometimes in multiple locations.
That is correct. And with our short staffing, we have to be at different cemeteries to accommodate for these funerals, you know, and they're scheduled roughly around the same time, so it kind of makes it difficult for us. We've managed to work with it. We've have a good relationship with the funeral homes, which helps out a lot.
Tell me a little bit about the maintenance of the 3 city cemeteries.
Well, in the springtime, we're just getting out of the winter, so we're fixing a lot of the ruts and surface damage and stuff that was done throughout the winter months, doing burials and whatnot. But for the summer, we have to process every single burial that we have done in the winter in order to get the headstones placed correctly. And then we have our grass cutting, our tree trimming, our weed whacking.
Can you tell me a little bit about your water lines?
Throughout our cemeteries, we have a water system that is very old, and in the winter months we have it turned off. So come springtime, we get it turned on again, so we could so it can help us with our spring cleaning and doing our duties that we have to do throughout the grounds maintenance. And once we get that water turned on, the pressure, our system is so old that it's a given that we have leaks every spring, and we try to repair them in a timely manner. But sometimes it's more entailed, you know, to get the repair done. And we really don't know what we got until we dig down to see how bad it is. So when there are sections that don't have water, it's because we're working on them still. But we
they
try
go
to, yes, and we'll get them repaired, but there is water in other sections of the cemetery.
And that's something that you do when you have your normal burial schedule too. You have to work that in.
We have to work everything in around our burials, yes. Yes.
Sure. What about winter maintenance?
On the winter maintenance, we got to make sure our roads are plowed, salted, sidewalks shoveled, the areas where we have burials. We have to make sure that the snow is removed around the areas enough to where we could have a decent burial and the family can approach the grave site without having any incidents.
Nick, I have a copy of the rules and regulations for the burial spaces. And I know these rules are available at the entrance of every cemetery and also online. But I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the difference between the rules for the flush burials and the upright burial spaces.
The difference between upright and flush burial spaces is the upright areas, there's planting of annual flowers permitted within a 12-foot border on the sides and on the front of the marker. A lot of people tend to plant behind the marker, but that is in somebody else's lot.
Oh, okay, so in front of
So
the
on the
marker.
sides and the front
Okay, sides
is,
and front.
is what they need to know, yes.
And the flush?
And in the flush, you can have an approved vase inserted, and you could have fresh cut flowers on there year-round. Potted plants are permitted on Easter, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and they remain for 1 week past the holiday, and then they get picked up. So if you want your plants back, come back and get them before the week is up. Okay, and also to add to that, for the winter months, you're allowed to put grave blankets or wreaths out on the graves starting November 15th to March 1st. And then we pick everything up.
Nick, we're in the veterans section today. Can you tell me a little bit about Memorial Day flags, or when you have flags out for our vets?
The flags are supplied by the city of Saginaw, and we supply them to a couple different posts that come out, and they place them out at every individual veteran's grave.
Nick, the call center periodically gets calls regarding the cemetery, sometimes with questions and such. Can you talk a little bit about when you do your spring cleanup?
Well, the spring cleanup and throughout the year, especially after every holiday, we come through and we pick everything up that needs to be picked up throughout our cemeteries. And at that point, we cannot get rid of everything that day. So we have an area designated out back where we temporarily put all of our things that we pick up throughout the cemetery, and then we get rid of them in a timely manner.
And can you tell me a little bit about leaves on the grounds? There's been some calls about like leaves that are mounded over certain areas, asking why.
That's something that's mainly like for our purposes. The leaves are not on interments per se. They are on graves, but those are graves that are available. And what the leaves do is that they keep the frost out of the ground, and that's what we use them for. So we could have accessibility to those graves in the winter months.
Also, there's been some calls regarding equipment and how it's went over grave sites and such. And I'm looking around, and I think it'd be kind of hard somehow to bury in certain sites without. But if you can tell us a little bit about that and how your operations and your crews handle it.
Yes, sometimes we have to get up into the sections quite a ways to do some burials, and unfortunately we have to come up over some existing burials and whatnot just to make that service happen. There are some surface ruts and whatever damage that gets done so we can do that burial. We come back at a later date and fix any ruts or damage that got done.
And make it right.
And make it right, yes.
Nick, we've had some calls about low graves. I don't understand, but maybe you can explain.
Well, over the winter months, mainly is that's one of the complaints that we hear. But in the winter months, the fill dirt that we use is the same dirt that we use when we dig a grave. And it freezes, so when we put it back in the grave, it's like a boulder. And when the temperature heats up, it thaws out and the dirt settles, you know, aside from that, the snow and the rain that we get, you know, so the dirt is not compacted. So it's going to end up settling, and that's what happens. So, and then you have a low spot where the graves look low. But the first chance we get, we come back with our equipment and put some more fill dirt.
Some of the other calls that we've received concern headstones. I know from personal experience that winter burials, headstone can't be placed. Tell me a little bit about how the Saginaw cemeteries handle headstone placement.
Once the headstone gets approved, and it takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks before we even get it on our grounds here. But once it's on our grounds here, we have to make sure that the burial is processed through where the dirt's settled in, right, and then we can come back and put the headstone on. If not, the headstone's just going to sink right into the loose dirt, the loose soil.
So the timing and the weather and the soil conditions are key.
Exactly, especially the weather. If the weather isn't cooperating, then a 6-week job can turn into 12 weeks easy, you know. So weather has a lot to do with what we do around here.
Nick, we're at Forest Lawn Cemetery today, and I'm wondering if you can tell me about land availability, expansion with our City of Saginaw cemeteries. I know you mentioned one of them has no more plots available.
That's correct. That would be Brady Hill. Oakwood, we're still doing good over there. There's plenty of room over there. Forest Lawn, we've been working on opening up another section. Right now, we just have Section 3 where we've been doing most of our burials. But I'm hoping probably this summer, if not next summer, we'll be able to start burying on Section 5. And aside from that, we're looking into expanding our veterans area and Section 30 and 31.
If you have a loved one and you don't know the location of their burial site in a City of Saginaw cemetery, what can we advise them to do, Nick, so that they can get that information?
You can call our office, or you can go to the city's website and click on the link there to look up your loved one by typing in their names.
The city manager and staff have been working on these cemeteries, the operational and maintenance needs, capital investments, infrastructure, and enhancements. So this has been an ongoing project, and you'll hear more about that in time to come.